Hello and welcome to episode 9, Debase, where I build Debase, and Debase gets debased, as you'll find out. Oh, and I get a special visitor too. Here I am marking out the cutouts that I need in the base of the Dalek. It's looking like a bloody frog or something. But anyway, doesn't matter. Skirt outline, the cutout to take the wheels, some bracket pieces marked in there. Hopefully this works. I'm a bit worried about this ply actually. I think it might be hollow in the middle. I just bought it cheap somewhere. Here I'm drilling pilot holes so I can insert the jigsaw blade down into the material. I need one of these holes on 90-degree corners in particular, and sometimes bends. You'll see where I choose to put them in the video. And now it's time to jigsaw, and you can see the pilot holes in action here. And you can also notice that I've put a pilot hole on a less than 90-degree bend, and that's because the jigsaw just can't turn that sharply. It's great for straight lines or large curves, but when it comes to tight corners, jigsaws aren't all that great. You really need to put a pilot hole in there so you can change the direction. So I'm jigsawing away, and I'm noticing that parts of this board are harder than others. Bits of it melt like butter, and other bits are really hard. You can see that the whole board is moving here as I'm trying to push the jigsaw along. Remember me saying I was concerned that this could be hollow inside? Well, it just didn't feel right, and that's because it is chipboard inside. It's not ply all the way through. My base has been debased. To reducing quality or value, degrade. To lower in status, esteem, quality, or character. To make something less good, less valuable. Debased. My base has been debased. It's chipboard. Well, I'm going to try and make this work. There's a good chance I'm going to have to rebuild this base, and I'll probably build different bases for caster style movement. Anyway, we'll continue on with this. There'll be some battening going around it to reinforce this. See how we go. Okay, here we are with the scooter body cut out. It's looking pretty good. Got to make a couple little adjustments around the place. Yeah, just make a few little cutouts to make it sit right. It's really disappointing that this thing turned out to be chipboard inside, but yeah, that's what I get for buying old packing crate ply, really. Here I am working out and cutting out the outside of the base. Because this thing is chipboard and won't have too much structural strength, I need quite heavy battening and edges around it. So I'm working on using 19mm dressed pine around the thing, and I'm scaling up the width and the height of the fender by about 1/3 to accommodate the wheels underneath it. I'll be fitting the dressed pine edging around the fender to the side edge of the base, so I need really straight, clean cuts. So I'm measuring and clamping some scrap pieces to run my circular saw along to keep the cuts nice and straight. The direction of circular saw blades are designed to pull the saw down into the work rather than the other direction, which make them try and skip across the top of it. But as a result, when you're using a circular saw on plywood, it tends to lift the layer of the veneer. Particularly this plywood is a very thin veneer of plywood, and it's lifting it. So I've got a tip to overcome that. By running a sharp knife along the line where you're going to saw, it greatly reduces the amount of layer lift that you get with plywood. So while I was working here in the backyard, I got a visitor. Now this little guy might look friendly enough, but he will strike fear into the hearts of many Australians, I can tell you. Now this is an Australian magpie. He's very different to overseas magpies. They're a bit smaller than a crow and have a similar robust sort of body, but have an incredibly strong pointy beak. I'm taking this visit as an omen, and I'm going to go off topic for a bit. I promise I don't do this very often, but I feel obliged to in this case, and it's worth it. If you think Daleks are evil, then you haven't encountered an Australian magpie. Every spring, during nesting season, they protect their nest, eggs and young by attacking anybody nearby. It's spring now in Australia actually. Our seasons are the opposite to the northern hemisphere. Technically they call it swooping, but no, it's literally bomb diving and driving their strong pointy beak into the back of your skull. They really dislike kids and bike riders. You see all sorts of ideas to dissuade attacks. Common ones are zip ties attached to helmets. When they can't get to your skull because of a helmet, they'll find alternative ways to hurt you. Bite your neck, peck your ears, whatever they can get at. And just like Doctor Who's statuesque weeping angels, they attack you from the rear while you're not looking at them, and stop still when you do look at them. The trauma people can suffer is very real. I do actually know one person who lost sight in an eye after a magpie attack as a child. There's even a website that records magpie attacks so people can check it to find a clear path. Look, one of the funniest videos I've ever seen was where a radio personality, I think naively, was testing different methods of avoiding magpie attacks while riding a bike and videoing it. I mean, this poor young woman was wetting her pants scared of what was happening, but it was so incredibly pants wetting funny for the rest of us. Check it out. I'll put a link or something down below for you to find it. It's had millions of views. It's incredibly funny. Check it out. My little visitor here is a juvenile because he's got grey plumage on his chest rather than black like an adult. Oi mate, what do you think of my Dalek base? Yeah, I know. You really are evil. This is my journey, to live the dream. Come along with me on my build journey down the wormhole.